Jim, how about just some focus points here? You know, you get a chance, come back, a little morning skate, just not necessarily about St. Louis, just about the group.
As far as what we focused on
Yes.
this morning, or just generally?
Generally.
Generally, it was tough road trips. We talked about that. Didn't like the results there whatsoever. But today's a new day. We're fresh. Had a day off yesterday, so St. Louis, I thought, played us really well in that game, and I think they're probably playing as well as anybody else in the league right now. They went into Dallas on that back-to-back. Were very impressive. So, just regaining our focus and what we have to do to beat them. Tough task.
Samuel Helenius, recalled from Ontario this morning, expecting him to go tonight for you guys?
Yeah, Samuel will play. Yeah, he'll get in between Gino and Louis.
If you look at his game, in Ontario since he went down, what have you seen there, and what are you maybe hoping he can bring to your lineup with that big frame he offers?
Well, yeah, I think we're pretty clear on. I guess we are. Sammy's really clear on who he is, right? He's a big guy. You don't have to tell him to finish checks. He plays a pretty straight up game, north-south. We continue to want him to improve his puck touches. He's just getting started. So I think that's part of his game that will continue to improve over time. But we know what we're getting from him, and we need him to be in on the forecheck and create a little havoc. I think with those three together, we'll get that.
You go back to that game in Chicago in the third period. You guys are hunting for offense, obviously. 28 shot attempts at 5-on-5. 2 of them were high danger. What can this team do more of in order to generate a little bit more offense going forward?
Yeah, that's a good question. They packed it in pretty well. I would say you take those opportunities and you're looking for tips and deflections and rebounds, and it was Chicago's night, and it certainly wasn't our night. So if you throw 28 there and you got people at the net, I would say that more often than not you're going to create more than 2 high danger chances. It just wasn't our night. Obviously, it wasn't our night without the puck. They scored some couple of different types of goals. First period where we had really good looks, the higher quality looks. Knight played well. So, some nights when you're just watching, you're like, man, I don't know, and we're not getting a bounce off a skate or one off the leg or a rebound just to lay there for us. There's not too much more you can do than have sustained time, have somebody at the net, and keep delivering.
Talked to a couple of guys, just asked them about the game against St. Louis. He said the Blues tracked really well the other day against you guys. How can you counter against something like that?
Well, we got a plan for that, but I'm not going to share that one, okay? There's a good chance Monty might be watching, so yeah, exactly. But no, they did a really good job of that, and they were dangerous offensively too, but equally as well they tracked us and didn't give us a lot of time and space. So that's why I'm saying they played such a good game. But we'll have to do something, a couple things better than we did in that game, and I think you'll see that tonight. Looks
like you have Clarkey checking back in. He was taking rushes on the second power play unit. What are you looking at out of his game tonight?
Just go and play. Nothing out of the ordinary. Just get in there and play, and the play's there, make it, and then defend like everybody else. So there's nothing. He doesn't have to do this or do that. He just has to get out there and play, and then he'd be evaluated like everybody else.
We spent a lot of time talking about the power play, but really these last couple of games just haven't had many opportunities, haven't had many this season. Is that dictated by, the team playing up, playing down, the way that they take the puck to the net? What do you take away from the lack of penalties drawn?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a really interesting question. So, I was in Toronto a lot of years ago, and we had some really high-end offensive players, and we were at that time near the bottom of the league, if I recall, in penalties drawn. So we had the same discussion back then, like what is it? With those high-end offensive players. So I think sometimes if you don't take a lot, you don't draw a lot. A lot of times on an evening that they're pretty close to being equal. So if you're not taking a lot, I don't think you're going to get on there as much. Now, if you start taking some more, that's not the game we want to play, though. But yeah, outside of that, it's when you create an advantage and you take somebody on and you've got an advantage, that player has to either one, let you go or run the risk of taking a penalty. So part of that is being able to just create some of those advantages, and oftentimes it's individually. Again, not easy to do, but that's where you do. You got to get a step on somebody. How do you do that? It's a better question.
Jim, as part of putting Brand in, maybe to tap into a different offensive element that's maybe just not there currently?
No, I don't think that's the case. I think if you look at the league, if you look at our team, early in the league's wide open. You know, the veterans are just getting back into shape, and as you start getting into this time of the year, things get tighter and tighter and tighter. So, if you just want to try on creating offense in your game, and it goes from player to player to team, you're gonna have a tough time if that's just your sole focus. So you just go play good hockey. There's less plays, offensive plays to be made because it's tight out there. But when you have the opportunity, and Clarkie has the ability in those moments, is to make the play at that time. But you can't chase it. Nobody can chase it. It's a dangerous recipe this time of the year.